obviously Sweetpea isn't one of my favourite characters in any show ever. I think she's amazing, as they all are. But Sweetpea obviously is constantly full of surprises. So, you know, the world in which you see the way in which Sweetpea exists in the world is you know, you have a sense that there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes. I mean, we know there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, obviously with activities online.
Okay, so this is a big episode, so we're just going to go straight in. Later in this episode, we have an interview with the industry production designer, Simon Rogers. But for now, I'm Bankole Eyo, he's Eyo and he's Ebube Bochi. And we're going to talk about industry episode 5 and white people in Ghana. You guys ready?
Yes, indeed.
Jacked up. So jacked up right now.
Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, and welcome to the Gold Coast. Today we're getting to this week's SternTao focused industry season 4 episode. And joining me on this direct British Airways flight, please forgive them, Dr. Umar, it's Eyo and Ebube.
Yikes.
Not bad.
I didn't love that, Dr.
It's not terrible.
I mean...
It goes against my religion. It goes against my religion.
Oh, God,
Wow.
This is... I mean, yeah, this was a... How you guys doing before we get to this episode? What you guys doing?
I'm
Can't
good.
complain.
Why you dressed as this? No.
You know what? It's...
You know, that's a pretty good question.
I want to match what I'm looking at outside. You guys think we don't care about you guys? I have had to brave snowstorms to go to my recording location. It's been a hell of a 2 weeks of recording. So guys, like, we try, we care about the show. We love this show.
Everybody put snowflake emojis in the comments.
No, stop.
W's in the chat.
ChatGPT will confuse that. Next thing you know, we're entering like cocaine algorithms, and they think we're trying to send messages in the comments. Let's not do it. Ebube is here for anyone who's been following our coverage this season. Ebube is here, and he's here from the trading desk, where weekly they preview episodes. Probably no episode this weekend because, as I'm sure you guys know if you're listening to this week's episode came out early because of the Super Bowl. Even though my opinion about this thing is like shows should just back themselves. Like, first of all, it's HBO. It's not like it was NBC or ABC. Like what
imagine
are the ratings really
HBO
going to
being
matter?
intimidated by the Super Bowl. Like I
like,
thought you guys were better than this.
Are you looking for weekly ratings? It's not like it's NBC or
Please.
Fox. Like just put out your show when it's going to come out.
You guys are
Like-
crazy.
But what's going to happen? People are still going to watch the episode before the next episode. It's not you're not trying to sell ads.
Yeah.
Like what exactly are
They
you?
don't need those kinds of ratings.
No one ever thinks about the podcasters. Now we have to put out 2 episodes earlier, have to put out this and 7 Kingdoms earlier. It's just think about the podcast. That's all I ask.
Now there's no time to preview, so the trading desk is off this week, so it's crazy.
Yeah. It's introduced this week, but obviously they'll be back. So for anyone who doesn't know, every week, every Sunday night, in this case Friday, we have Eyo and I talking about the episodes straight off, just our pure, uncut reactions, which are usually very wrong because we don't watch ahead. I will talk about some of that this episode, at least some of the predictions. And then later in the week, towards the weekend, Ebube gathers a rotating group of colorful characters to kind of talk about the episode again in more detail with the benefit of interviews and things, and then preview the upcoming episode.
Who's the most colorful character?
It's always Osagali. Osagali is always the most colorful character.
Honestly, I wasn't even going to front. I was just going to say that. I was going to say the same thing. So far, it's been him.
He opens his mouth and you don't know what's going to come out. It's just always going to be.
Yeah. Shout out.
So as I mentioned earlier, we have the production designer later in this podcast. As I'm sure you've seen in the title, it was a very good conversation. Thank you, Simon, just for your time. We spoke about kind of the things that go into making a season of industry, an episode of industry. And I think production design is one of those things that like lots of people that are not in the film world don't really know what that is or what that entails. But it's also one of those things that like really, especially a show like industry where everything contributes to the character. Right, we've talked about Harper's hair and their costumes this season, but also like how their apartments look, how their cars look, all these kind of things contribute towards the character. So I think production design was a good kind of way to get into the insights of the story. I want to talk about some things from previous episode. We didn't spend too much time. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about Rishi, but actually not enough time. So I kind of want to talk a bit more about Rishi before we go on. I had in my notes that I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last time we see him. But then now, reading a lot of Saga's interviews after the episode came out, it seems almost definitive that this is the last time we'll see him. That like Rishi is kind of gone. Yeah, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from these interviews.
It's a main character anyways.
At least as a main character, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, but what a way to, like, just, he jumps off a building, breaks his legs, and then we, no follow-up.
I mean, yeah, and like we kind of, again, interviews have kind of confirmed, which obviously they confirmed in this episode, that Dycker died, right? The episode,
Jimmy Dycker, R.I.P.
Charlie Heaton's
not
interviews
just not just interviews. I mean, it's literally said in episode 5.
In this episode, in this episode, he said, and we kind of theorized last week whether that was the case. But like, yeah, so Rishi is facing a manslaughter. Like, I never thought the show was gonna go into a prison setting. I didn't think they're gonna do a story there. So, Rishi is kind of facing that. So. And I think he will go down for it. I can't see any way where he doesn't go down.
Here's my thing, right? When this came to light, I felt, okay, they basically, it's almost as if they're saying you were warned. Like from the moment Rishi's wife got shot in the head, it was like this show telegraphing things might get a little bit crazy. Buckle up if you're ready. And now it's happening, but I wonder if there's going to be some interesting discourse about the fact that is Rishi's character they're using to explore this side of life.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't think they're going to explore that side of life.
I think they've explored it. It's full stop.
I think it's done.
It ends with, this is his final punishment.
Like they just turned the man into a degenerate. Then again, he was always a degenerate on some level, but still.
Yes, and I think they are punishing him for that degeneracy. But my question, I don't disagree. But my first question on this note is like, why is Rishi the only one that gets punished on this show?
That's the question I'm asking. Like, why is he the one that we're using to kind of see all of these consequences? To be fair, he was probably the most brazen, and I think the show, in saying the things it wants to say, has to use certain characters as archetypes to be like, okay, in this world that we have created, representing this set of principles, showing this type of industry, these are the types of people, and this is probably what will happen to each one of these types of people if they keep going down the path they're going. And you can kind of draw a straight line from everyone's first appearance in season 1 to where they are now. And if the writing is good, look back and be like, yeah, that tracks. You know, looking at Harper, yes. Looking at Yasmin, 100% yes. It's like she was never going to last in that bank. Looking at Robert, even though we're not seeing him, like we know where he's ended up. And I guess if you really think about everything Rishi has ever done, said, or even all his overheard lines, because he was the king of those in season 1 and 2. I mean, it's almost like, yeah, it tracks. And when you even see in episode 4 that his mother-in-law fully sees him as a degenerate, despite her Christian faith.
Her name is still saved as cow-in-law.
As cow-in-law. Like,
he got
after all this, like,
killed.
you're telling me you're contrite, but her name is still cow-in-law?
Still.
This is not how you do contrition.
Yeah,
he was incorrigible.
Do you have any thoughts on Rishi and like us concluding his arc?
No, I think just kind of similar. Like, I'm not surprised. Like I said in the last episode, not surprised. And I'm sad to see Rishi go because I enjoyed the Rishi character, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
I think the headline is, it was always going to end this way. This was always going to, like, and I think the moment Ebube mentioned when Diana dies, and I think that's a good point. But I also think it's in White's mischief when he calls Vinay back.
Yes.
That's the moment. When he calls Vinay back.
But he made a clear choice.
You're like,
it's never going to change.
You're like, that was your chance. That was the sliding doors moment. That was the fork in the road. You picked the right choice and we don't end up here, but this is who you are. But my thing was just like, okay. And I don't, obviously I'm not saying that like Harper or Yasmin or Eric should die or whatever. But I was like, okay.
God forbid.
God forbid. But I'm like, okay, obviously Harper did have a bit of, she kind of had a season of I guess, repercussions, and then she came back up in season 3. But it's like, okay, how do we start? Maybe punishing is a hard word, but how do some of these characters start getting
Taking
the result of their
accountability,
actions?
perhaps.
Their comeuppance.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of them have been getting their comeuppance, and it's commensurate to
with what they do,
their sins, right? Yeah. I think it is.
Can you give us one example?
Eric was killed.
but
the
he was
bank
killed.
him.
But he was killed.
They gave
with
him
a
money, but
very
that's not
big
what he
golden
wanted.
goose.
Yes.
He wanted
That's not what he
relevance, and
wanted.
they gave him 20 million over
They
10
gave him
years.
20 million. They said, get out. Like after he killed his best friend and mentor
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
And then within a few months, he was gone. So it was all for nothing. I think the same thing with Harper. She does all her maneuvers season 1 and 2, and then they
Overplays
put
her
her
hands.
at the bank. She has to start from the bottom. She's a PA. She's dying.
But what about Yasmin? Because
To be
if
fair,
you remember,
Yasmin lost her love. She chose convenience. She chose a life that she thought that she's being programmed to take, or that she had been programmed to take.
Because
I think she did really love Rob, but it wouldn't have worked with her life. And then she chose.
Yeah,
and I
100%.
think now she's kind of dealing with the consequences of what she's chosen, right?
But it's not necessarily a consequence of like, I don't know, she's still up.
The thing that but then like these guys they're not terrible people. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yasmin
They're
will
not on
play
the same
her
level
mind
as
games with you. Rishi got his wife killed. Like,
Rishi got his wife killed.
guys.
Rishi got his wife. I get what you're saying. That like,
You're right. And he killed little Jimmy Dycker. He killed him.
He has 2 bodies on his contract. It's
bodies.
kind of crazy.
I don't know, guys. I feel like it's commensurate.
I mean, fair. Maybe this
Eric only has 1 body.
Isn't it weird on some level, like narratively, for them to bring back Rishi in such a small role in season 4, only to kind of give him this level of comeuppance? Like, couldn't they have given him the Rob sparing treatment, and he's just like gone, like we don't see him again? But they brought him back just to be like, nah, look, consequences.
So Saga actually kind of touched on this in his interview with William Goodman, which I linked in last episode, and I'll link again this episode, where that when Mickey and Conrad were plotting him, like the end of season 3, like on one hand you can be like, that's kind of the end, but like they always give the idea that like, no, we have a bit more story here to tell, a little bit more. But he didn't know if it was like 1 episode worth, half a season worth, a full season worth. Because if we give him the Rob sparing treatment, we can envision a happy ending for him, happy ending, quote unquote.
Where
we can
he makes
envision
good
that,
decisions.
yes, that he goes to therapy, or that he becomes a good father, or like he goes to rehab. All those things we can kind of envision if it's open-ended.
Turns out he did do those things. He went to the Priory.
Yes, but I think Mickey and Conrad wanted to put which is, I'm saying, this is their guy that they're using to like beat this industry. Like they're like, we're gonna show you, like this is in a crude way, I think they're just kind of like, or rather, my explanation is the crude, not what they're doing. It's like they're trying to like all their angers and whatever's and the how far the industry can go in terms of being depraved. They've put it into Rishi, and now they are kind of like punishing Rishi because he represents that thing. So I think they don't want to give him a happy ending. They want to like put I'm like, no, this is where this character ends up.
Yeah,
yes,
interesting.
Always ends up here. And now when you look at it, you kind of it's kind of like a denouement, where it's like we don't want to stop right before the 3rd act. We want to show you the 3rd act. We want to show you the end of this character, like where this character ends up.
So you don't have confusion.
There's no ambiguity.
Yes. This is what it means. Fair.
So I'm sorry that we still not got to this episode, guys, but I'm hoping that you're following along, because this is going to be a big episode to discuss. But one last thing before we go on. I'm going to step on your corner a bit, because I got this comment. We got this comment from Trading Desk. There isn't really a question in it. These inciting background vocals. But I think it's worth thinking about as we discuss some parts of this episode. So it's a long comment, so guys, please bear with us. It's from Dr. Defink on YouTube. So the comment is, if industry is a shop of validation, the world of finance validates your place at the table in a society built by kings and queens. Two ethnic female leads find themselves at crossroads, desperate for notoriety. Harper has the talent and intuition to play this game and to play it well. However, she's her own worst enemy. Striking out on her own, it's a humbling experience because wealth is an illusion. It doesn't give you any more or less control in life than the person who serves coffee for a living. Eric has a paternal relationship with Harper. He taught her everything she knows. However, success comes with a cost. Eric lost his family in the pursuit of wealth and validation. His $10 million investment was an apology to Harper. Unlike Harper, Yaz doesn't have the talent, but she somehow knows how to bring in the big fish. Bringing in the big fish and knowing what to do with the catch of the day are two different things. It's an excellent line, like from this person. Just like a very, very well.
I read that comment and started clapping.
It would fit in Eric's mouth, that line. Let's just read it again. Bringing in the big fish and knowing what to do with the catch of the day are two different things. Yaz's pursuit of relevance is going to end with Henry killing himself. Oof. That scene where Henry suggested they have a kid, Yaz's facial expression is of a psychotic screwball. Said it's all about how she feels about him. We inherit the best stroke worst qualities of our parents. Yaz will never escape our father's DNA. Love this channel. Keep up the good work.
Also, love the emojis you used.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And I really appreciate that, especially after stuff that I brought up about how Yasmin is basically her father in a bunch of ways she has not confronted yet. And I wonder if that's something she thinks about, or if that's something that's apparent.
I kind of hope she doesn't become Charles Hanani.
Yeah,
that's
like,
so bad.
Like, that would be really
Charles
bad.
Hanani, the worst man in the world.
It would actually be so bad because it's like, we're talking wolf in sheep's clothing, but like this is like wolf in sheep's clothing. That is still like, it's kind of weird. Like,
I don't know if Yasmin could ever become Charles Hanani just because she's a woman. I think there's a special kind of
that
badness.
bad. I don't think it can get that bad, personally.
Yeah. But the internet has, I don't know how much Mickey and Claude are thinking about this, but internet has comped her to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a better comp than
you guys think Ghislaine is better than Charles Hanani.
Well, yes.
Yeah, Charles because Hanani's Epstein.
Is Epstein.
Well, yes, he is. But I'm just saying, like, they're equally, like, this is like the doing and then the facilitation. Like,
well,
let's not absolve Ghislaine.
One is like
very bad, but one is like
worse.
One is worse. Yes. One is worse.
If hell is divided by the heat's intensity, one is right beside Satan, and one is like a level below. It's like they're put in hell, but like one isn't as bad. So like that, I would hope that Yasmin gets as much clarity, whatever, to kind of stop herself from getting that far in. But she does have, and I think the thing about it, Charles comes out in impulses, as do our parents. Like, a lot of times I do something on impulse, or sometimes I'm like, that's not me, that's my father. Because like when you get to think about it, you kind of like go against those things. But when it's like your natural instincts, that's when those things are ingrained in you come out.
Mikey, what do you do that reminds you of your father?
No, it's just sometimes I know it's not.
Which impulse?
Why would I? Why would I? I do enough therapy on this podcast. I'm not going to go all in. No, but it's like, it's just
name the
normal
top two impulses.
I'm not going to do the top two impulses.
That's so well.
But like it's normal things. It's just like sometimes I say something, I'm like, oh, actually that's something I'm not like, obviously. And I think Yasmin's on, like, again, somebody had a great comment about how like Yasmin uses the bedroom as a source of power because that's where she was. I think it was Natasha as well, because that's where she was attacked or defiled or whatever, and it's like the place of the trauma is where they use as kind of inflicting it and everything. So, so like, again, Charles comes out in the instinct when Hades is in that scene in Austria. Okay, let's talk about episode 5. Titled Eyes Without a Face. Is written by Joseph Charlton, directed by Luke Snelling. In what I believe is the first Marisa Abela absent episode of Industry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Sweetpea and Kwabena travel back to the motherland a couple months late for Dirty December, and Eric and Harper have a couple of heart-to-hearts. What did you guys think of this episode? Hey, I'm start with you.
Best episode of the season so far. It's great. It's immense.
I agree.
I suppose it depends on what you're looking for, but yeah, I think it had a good amount of variety. It probably had a lot of things people generally want from this show, other than I guess Yasmin. If you're the type of person who wants kind of like a deep dive, I suppose the I suppose episode 2 is probably what you want, but like with this episode, you're getting field
You
trips.
get a bit of that.
You're getting Harper actually confronting things about herself. You're getting
Harper and
Sweetpea.
Eric have an honest conversation in this episode, which I honestly don't think they've done before.
I mean,
Honestly,
they have like two. They have two, at least two in this.
no,
They've had
because
maybe,
I would argue that the first conversation
time
is
in
not
years.
really honest,
Yeah. It's like they
but
usually
they do have an honest conversation.
the thing
in this
about
one.
Harper and Eric is like they have honest conversations and they have vulnerable conversations, but they usually don't happen in the same conversation. This is like the first time
True.
that it happened all in one. So that was actually why the vibe was different. If you like Sweetpea as a character, you get an exploration of her, right? And we do love Sweetpea on this podcast, right? So
Some
I think-
more than most.
some of them most. But I think there's this idea that like, you know, of course, Sweetpea has gone through a bunch of things in the time skip. Like this season does have a time skip, and we learn more about what happened. You know, we get a sense of Kwabena. And I think as the season progresses, we're learning more and more what the show actually wants to say with this particular character. But also, like the plot was moved forward because I think the whole like tender thing is one of the more interesting things here. And now SternTao's actual involvement in the tender storyline fully comes like full circle in this episode, because it's almost as though like tender has been happening. It's been Yasmin and Henry's storyline. Then SternTao is here trying to find their footing with Harper first leaving Moston, you know, Eric joining, all that stuff. Now everybody is fully clashing, going ahead. And this is all done in the first half of the season. So now we have the remainder of the season to actually see how these conflicts will come to a head.
I fucking
that's
love
a
this
good one.
episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode, man.
I think I definitely agree with Ayoda is the best of the season.
Oh, for the record, I agree too, by the way.
Yeah,
Personal,
I
on a
finished
personal level.
watching it and I just wrote down my immediate thoughts immediately I finished watching. I was just like, this is why I love this show. It's for like the scenes in this. I was talking to in the interview with Simon. I mentioned like 2 years from now, I won't remember the tender plot line, but I would remember these scenes with Eric and Harper because that's what I'll keep on thinking about. Like, I love this show. I love this episode for scenes like this, for characters being so close to their humanity, but like choosing or being unable to choose not to. They fall back. They fall back on their instincts, their
You
devices.
can tell
Like,
that the show's making a
everyone in this
statement.
episode, everyone in this episode is so close to their humanity. Harper is so close. Eric is so close. But then they do something. They're like, no, I'm gonna go. And that's the tragedy that keeps bringing me back. That's the thing. I was like, it's like you're so close. You're almost there. But then something happens that makes you just retreat into like what is safe for you. And I was like, that's why. And I do think this show, that's always been in the show, right? There's always been either subtext or even sometimes actual text. But then I was thinking about it, and I don't think we've ever intellectually engaged with that idea of being so close to humanity and like having and choosing to pull back. But if you think about it, think Harper and Daria in season 1, Yasmin and Rob, Gus in season 2. Whenever any character actually does embrace their humanity, they're off. They're done with the show. like Gus becomes a human in season 2, like through the woman,
and
the guy that
immediately
comes to
punished
meet
for
him.
it.
And I don't know if he's punished.
He's freed.
He's freed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to be fair, yeah. Let's call it being freed. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
freed.
But I mean, that's
Rob
the
is
thing,
also
right?
freed.
As I said, with every scene, with every character, like that's why this episode is so good. It's saying something. It's like this idea of choice, and I like the way you put it. You know, they're getting very close, but they just literally can't go over the edge of really being human. And the funny thing is, that is the overarching statement. Like the show is now kind of adding, or I guess, kind of bringing new complexity to his thesis statement of this is what this industry does. Like, let's not forget the name of this show is industry, right? So it's like, what is it really trying to do? And I think
so that leads me
that's
to a
becoming
question
clearer.
I had. I like that you just said that, because my question now is a chicken and egg situation. Are these characters in this industry because they are broken and they need this thing? Or does the industry
they're broken
break
because
them
they're
and they
here.
believe they are in need of something?
Mhm.
Can a true human being survive in this world?
I
Does
have a
anyone
very
have-
clear view. I have a very clear view.
Let me hear it.
I think the industry breaks you.
So you don't think they're broken when they go in?
I think everybody's looking for something, right?
Mhm.
I think not just on this show, I mean just generally in
general,
life, right?
yeah.
Like everybody's looking for something. Everybody's searching for a purpose. I think what Harper says in season 1 is her thesis for coming into this industry. It feels meritocratic in a world that increasingly doesn't feel that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she goes in there looking for somewhere that will reward her for her own strengths. But then I really do think the industry breaks you. And the analogy, because I was thinking about this obviously when Eric is talking to Harper and he mentions the whole thing about his kids. And then Harper says, I hope it's not lost on you that you're in a hyper transactional industry or career where every transaction adds up to 0. And I was like, okay, is it the inner nature that drives you to that? Or do you become that because you're here looking for something else and then this is what it makes you? Honestly, I think about things like social media and like Instagram.
Don't get me started, but
do you... I stopped posting on Instagram because of likes. Like it stopped being, oh, this is what my friends are doing, and became a thing of, okay, this is the time you should post if you want to get likes.
You stop being a person and you start being a brand. Because that's what
everybody becomes a content creator because that is what the algorithm wants you to do.
Yeah.
That is what the algorithm wants you to do. So I definitely do think in this situation, and I think it's just larger in life, I think there are systems that mold you into the things that reward the system.
So you think this show is saying that this industry essentially is requiring people to literally not just abandon, but discard their humanity in order to become cold, because it is coldness that fuels the industry?
I don't know if coldness is the only thing, but yes. I think you need to win. And the industry does
win
not...
at all costs.
Yeah, at all costs. And it actually harks back to something that Harper touches on in this episode, where she's like, why should we play fair when, 10 of them are not playing fair? Eric's like, because we don't want to go fucking jail, bro.
Yes, for
to
you.
be fair, their rules are different than yours. But I'm like, okay.
I was like, Harper, what you saying?
We don't want to go to jail, but that is the impulse that the industry it puts in you. You have to, like, Harper in season 3 is like, oh, please leave Jasmine alone. She's my little friend. I'm actually like, bro, we're about to make bank and this babe is not good at her job. What?
That was another example of being so close to humanity. During that episode. Both episodes written by Joseph Charlton, this one and episode 6, which is probably my best episode of the season, actually, of season 3. And then he also wrote episode 3 of this season.
By the way, is the last time the 3 of us were together.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. Yeah, talking about the slaps. He also wrote episode 3 of this season, which was obviously probably my worst since like season 2, episode 1, right? It's like, so it's, and I'll talk about some of the similarities between this episode and episode 3 as we go on. But yeah, I like the fact that you posted that Instagram thing because I hate that. I post maybe a personal thing on Instagram, like maybe once a year.
Once a year, and at best.
Guy, I cannot even do stories.
My whole Instagram is the podcast. My whole Instagram
cannot
is the podcast.
even do stories.
But like, whenever
so
I do
stressful.
post a personal thing, I hate how much I'm like looking at the likes. Like, I hate how much
like it needs you to do that.
I'm
like this whole idea of an attention economy.
I hate myself for it so much.
And it's things that if you and it doesn't just incentivize you to participate. It makes you feel like you're punished for not participating.
Yeah,
it's
because the likes are sweet.
Cycle.
The likes are fucking sweet.
Like literally, you honestly just don't get me started.
You have to get to 3 digits. You can't be like 80. Like, so I always hate myself when I'm looking at the number of likes. I'm like, you should be better than this, but you're not. You are not better than this.
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's why I don't want to play the game.
Okay, so so on this whole idea of the soulless nature of this industry, I researched the title of this episode. So I thought a face. First of all, it's a movie, I think 1960 horror film in which a surgeon's daughter is caught in an accident and he ends up like restructuring her face to fix her. And by the end, the only thing that remains from her original face is her eyes. Now, this title is, I guess, based on that and based on the song written by Billy Idol, performed by Billy Idol, which Kwabena sings. And
it's
I think
played at the end of the episode too.
Exactly, yeah. So, Billy Idol said that he took inspiration from the movie, and then he saw some parallels between the movie and the moral decay he was experiencing in New York in the 1980s. He said, I started to use Eyes Without a Face as a possible title stroke lyric stroke chorus for the song. I began to write words that in some disguised form spoke about my life in New York and a relationship gone wrong, on the edge of disintegrating into madness. Perhaps I was reflecting on my own touring infidelities. Who went on tour and cheated this episode? Sweetpea doesn't know the rule of what happens on tour stays on tour. In a way, those relationships can leave you feeling soulless, especially if you're already in a relationship that you put value in, that you value by degrading by looking elsewhere for additional sexual kicks. So, I mean, I don't spend too much time looking at that, but there's the idea of like the soulless, empty nature of everything around you, and like chasing things and all of that. So I found that, not particularly for this episode, but like more as a thesis about the entire show of industry. What does Eric say in season 2 is, aren't you happy that like no one's ever satisfied? Everyone's always looking for the other thing and everything. Anyway, speaking of Eric, can we start with the Eric Harper, the first scene, where Eyo, you mentioned that they were not, or she was not being entirely truthful.
I don't think she was being honest with herself.
I love this episode so much that when I was watching the second time for my notes, at a point I just stopped writing the notes. I was just like, let me just watch the episode.
I had to pause so many times to write on my second watch because I was just like, bro, there's so much I want to say.
I gave up. I was just like, you know what? I'll watch the episode. Normally I watch the second time and I'm taking my notes. I was like, no, I'm just going to watch the episode the second time without taking notes. So if you remember, Eyo, after there was a press conference for industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that Mickey, not to blow up his spot, he spelled something by mistake. You could tell that it was a mistake that he had spelled something. But like, I don't think nobody reacted, obviously, because they're all pros. But he spelled that Harper's mom dies.
Oh.
So like, I have known all this time that Harper's mom dies in this
How do you feel about that? The fact that we'll never meet her?
I missed it.
I think she's honest with that, it's better not met. I think the specter of her mom is just better as an idea than actually meeting her.
I think honestly, because that is how she exists for Harper at this moment.
Exactly.
Harper hasn't seen her in years.
Very surprised about that. I thought Harper had seen her in the off season. But the fact that she didn't even see her between seasons 3 and 4 was very surprising.
She wanted to become even bigger, to make more of an impact.
She was down.
That's her motivating factor, right? She's been trying to make herself big to spite her mother this entire time. Like, she wants power because she needs her mother to have no choice but to acknowledge that authority and success. And then it's like, you built all that only for that to never come to fruition. So this isn't just grief. This is, I mean, she did get the success, but she didn't get the, I guess, chance to deliver comeuppance to her mother. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you built, like, on some level, there's grief here, but there's also like all that for nothing. Because no matter how rich she gets, like you guys said, everybody's looking for something here. And now her own why can never truly be realized.
Yeah, I like that. Everyone needs a why. I think when you have a chip on your shoulder, no matter how successful you are in doing what you want to do, you kind of need to look at somebody and be like, look, I did it. Despite you not believing I could do it, I did it. Like, otherwise, it's almost, or not, it's worth it, but not as worth it as it would need to be, right? It's like, you're always missing something if you don't get to win, quote unquote. I mentioned this episode is written by Joseph Charlton. And obviously, I mentioned in episode 3, kind of my issues with the Eric Harper scene. And I felt like this scene was taken right where that one left off. And I was like, Harper, but I guess because I knew what the phone call was, or at least I thought she was already dead at that point, but like I knew what was going through Harper's mind. It was easier for me to kind of like go with her. But again, I'm like, Harper, you're doing what I was doing. Like, you're not talking direct. Like, you're not.
She really wasn't. Eric starts it with like, the fuck's gotten into you? Like, just straight off. Like, what's wrong with you?
I love when Eric is like, what makes you think that's a good segue? It's like, what are we doing?
What a crazy thing she said, by the way. That was a wild...
You think if you leave your girl some money, they're going to love you?
Like, why on earth would she say that?
Apropos of what? Like, where did that come from?
That's what Eric is saying.
This is completely irrelevant. That's what he's telling her.
Eric is talking to you. She's like, oh... Because in that conversation, Harper is again trying to blame Eric. for their predicament.
But he's not having it. He's not having it this time.
Eric gets the finger and just turns it. He's like, this is your...
And he's already told her, right?
Your idea.
You need to have a prescribed person to blame. Like he said that at the beginning of the season, which, by the way, makes it even funnier to me that at the beginning of this episode,
it's him.
He's literally not to blame. He's not taking accountability. He's also looking for a prescribed person to blame for his daughter's truancy.
I think we'll talk about his daughter's truancy in a second, but yeah,
like it's interesting because Harper, like, she really goes in, like she says more, right? She's like, you don't know how lucky you are to have people who expect, demand your love. You don't feel worthy of it, so you don't know how to give it, and nothing between us is going to fix that for you. And then she just leaves.
What? I was like, Harper, what is going on?
I think that whole conversation it wasn't very honest from her, but I think it was honest about the show. It was as textual as
it wasn't honest, but it was true.
yeah, true. It was true about the show. You're right. It wasn't honest from her, but it was true about the show. I think it was as textual as they could have gotten about that relationship, because Harper says, "You are not useful to me," to Eric, and then Eric goes, "Oh, is that what this is?"
Like, what did you think this was?
Bro, what the fuck
You're here
else
gambling
could
your
this be?
daughter's inheritance for
Like,
somebody
I'm
that you
not
have
your
a paternal
daughter.
relationship with, that you don't even need to have a paternal relationship with. What about your actual
like
children?
giving me money, all this money you've put on the line for me or for us, quote unquote, is not like, you're not my dad. You're not my dad. Like, it's not going to fix your relationship with your daughter. What
Isn't
else
that
could
crazy
this
though,
be?
that he still wants somebody else to be calling him daddy?
Look,
We'll get to that point because
both ways, but yeah,
I think there's a lot there.
There's too much happening there.
we'll get to that. Just about the show being textual, I didn't mention this earlier, but one of my favorite things is when they're revealing the effect of Rishi and Dyker's evening night out, and like, I love when Eric is like, it just feels sloppy. It's kind of a criticism that somebody would give the show.
Yo, that was incredible though.
Sweetpea was like, "Hey, Rishi's sloppy. What do you want from us?"
Which is basically the same confirmation we just had. It's like, what else were you expecting?
Sloppy nigga, man.
So like New York Times, if you want to call this a sloppy resolution, hey, Rishi's sloppy.
It's like it tracks.
Okay. So there's that one conversation, and I want to go to the next one, which is the undeniable conversation, which is when everybody is bare and honest and talking in ways I don't think these characters have ever spoken to one another, as Eyo was saying.
I think the word you're looking for is respect.
Is it respect? Is it love? Is this love?
It's as close to love as respect gets. That's what I think. Is it
respect or is it love?
It's as close to love as respect gets. And Eric's ex-wife says the same thing, right? Don't mistake regret for love. Eric, because of his regret, is now feeling respect for things a little bit too late, but is tricking himself into thinking it's love. It's not love, because he's not ready to commit to what he needs to be in order to maintain the new status quo.
But that's for his daughter. What about for Harper?
I
think he loves
genuinely
Harper.
think it's love. I think it's love. I think you're right. I think that is love. And I think
I agree with you for his daughter.
Yeah.
But for Harper,
in Harper's case, I think the respect does end up actually reaching love on some level, but he just doesn't know how to voice it yet. He doesn't know how to articulate it, so he's still figuring out how to process it.
I don't know, man. I feel like Eric has been he said I love you in as many ways as he could this season.
He's like, let's be friends.
Harper.
And she's like, why are we friends?
Bro, I think he's been as open, like his heart is on his sleeve when it comes to he's like, hey,
from
I'm back here for
Florida,
you, for us.
like for her. Like,
I'm back here for us. Let's do this thing normally. Like, let's be guys.
I want your name on the door. It's like, yeah.
So
that
this
surprised me when
this
he came back and was
right?
ready
like,
to do all that.
He loves her. Hey, what are you going to say?
I was like, this conversation, I found it so interesting, like the way it starts, right? Because Harper approaches Eric so gingerly. Like, I don't think I've never seen Mahala do that in this show. She is so vulnerable when she comes up to him. And then she begins to talk about love, which, honestly, I don't know if she's ever done this before either.
There are things in this episode that Mahala has never done. We'll get to it towards the end. I was like, okay, sure. Like, to take Eyo's words, Emmy.
What the Emmy, man? Well, Marissa slices, but anyways.
Wow.
I think one of the wildest things. Come on, guys.
It's okay.
You said turn around the bell, show me a cunt. Come on, man. Ain't nobody doing it like that, man. Ain't nobody doing it like that.
Eyo thinks she should get the Emmy just for that one scene of her smoking.
Bro,
when she moves her mouth.
It is ridiculous. It is so good. It is so good.
Sorry, yes, Harper love.
Back to this conversation about Harper talking about love. I think one of the wildest, I had two sharp intakes of breath during this convo. Mm-hmm. The first one when Harper says that her brother's love was the only love that she remembered in her childhood. Mm-hmm. And then breaks down a little bit and said resentment and hate is all she remembers. That was the first time. I was like, what? Yeah. A whole childhood.
Yeah.
Your brother? No parent, no friend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we know
and she's
this
still
now.
trying to prove she can survive without any maternal or paternal help. And like Eric said, right, resentment and hate can be good motivational principles until they're not.
Until it's not enough. I think Eric has experienced that. The second time I did my sharp intake of breath was when Eric, and do you know what I love about this conversation? Is that it felt like a real conversation that you would have with someone that you're opening up to for the first time.
It was excellently written
Harper
dialogue.
comes, says something incredibly revealing and vulnerable to Eric. And Eric has to respond with something as incredibly revealing and vulnerable for himself. Mm-hmm. When he says he looks at his children, these beings that run on attention, and says, no, you can't hold mine.
Isn't that insane? He doesn't think his children are worthy of his attention. This is literal narcissism, like on a new level. Oh my gosh. His children, they didn't ask to be here, Eric. You brought them into this world and they're not worthy of your attention?
Look, and he knows, and I think there's a tragedy of a character like Eric.
He's aware.
He knows.
He's fully aware. No, he's maybe the most self-aware character.
They've given him the report. They said this is what your daughter did, as he, in his own words, meticulous fucking cruelty.
What does it say? It's difficult to swallow the evidence of your failure in parenting or whatever.
Straight evidence of how you have failed as a parent. He knows, but then he's like, yo, I still, like, even knowing all of this, I still look at it, I'm just like, bro, you can't make me any money. You can't make me calm. Like, you cannot hold my attention. Oh.
Should we talk about Lily's...
Give them the Emmy.
Doing posh adolescents, because that thing was crazy. That whole plan on the girl and the bullying and like, oh, Jesus Christ. Holy fucking shit.
I think there should be a spinoff about that. I think Lily deserves a spinoff.
Posh adolescents, like just like kind
of meticulous cruelty is really the only way you can describe that, because that took planning. That took commitment.
Do you know something? I think boys are sloppy, boys are cruel, boys are violent. Mm-hmm. Boys are never meticulous about how evil. Like, I think back to Luella, what were we doing? Red Night. Oh, they'll come and carry and
fight you. We'll beat you. Like,
they'll come and carry and put you in dustbin. We're not doing. That's psychological warfare.
They break you down.
Babes are like terrible. Babes are something.
Their plans are recorded in
your
centuries.
Self-respect.
Bro, the Bene Gesserit, man.
What? The Bene Gesserit is crazy.
All we can think as men, we can only think about maybe a week in advance. We're gonna mask this guy on Saturday. That's all we can do. Yeah. If it goes more than a week, we're not going to follow through. But the girls are like, bro, that plan is. I was in shock when Eric was saying what she did. I could not believe
they made her travel
themselves. Jesus, and they were taking the pictures. And like
pictures.
Like that poor girl. Oh my God.
Spin-off though, making a car if you're listening.
Netflix, buy it.
I'd watch it.
Of course you would. Let's talk about female bullied in the UK. And then let's finish on this thing. Is there anything you guys want to talk about?
I loved the ending shot.
What's the ending shot?
Like, of both of them just on the Ottoman Mahala is crying into Eric's, I guess, arms. I just thought I thought it looked beautiful. I don't think there's been. It was just so intimate. In a way that I've not seen from both of these characters together.
Yeah, I really love this. I don't think Harper has been this emotionally open since Berlin.
Yeah.
I think literally Berlin broke her. She was like, okay, I'm not kind of opening up to anybody ever again. So, and like, there are lots of things that we've talked about already, like the idea that her mom dying is kind of, it's unfortunate. It's like
Going down the
uncomfortable.
stairs to get an Amazon package, by the way.
Guy, Bezos killed her mom.
Bezos killed her mom.
That's
Bezos
just
killed her mom. Bezos fired.
this sick
I guess
irony.
he's not the CEO anymore. For Amazon fired 30,000 people this week and killed Harper's mom. The fuck, bro?
It's inconvenient. It's inconvenient for Harper because she doesn't get to get her
She doesn't
win.
get the
what I'm
moment
saying.
at the end
For
of the movie.
the rest of her life, that hole will be unfilled. It's and then Eric is like, he has to deal with, like he said, the evidence of his failure as a father. And then, as if the show wanted to kind of like just hammer the nail one more time over the head, he's trying to call his daughter. And what interrupts him? A call from the sex worker. And you're like, that is Eric. That is just, it's like in the, I think, what was it? It's in the Bear season 2 finale when Carmi wants to call, what's her name?
Claire.
And then I think something about the restaurant gets in the way. I think he has to call the fridge guy. Something about like, it's a clear example of the two worlds coinciding. And here is the same thing. It's like, so that it's a sex worker and your daughter, which is just, should never coincide. Like,
But he says, never call me again.
He makes a choice
I think
in that moment.
this is him going up to the edge of becoming a human being.
Yes. Oh, I agree with you. In this moment, yes, I agree with you.
In this moment.
But he doesn't make it very far.
Hey.
But like he doesn't, but the point stands because he doesn't now call Lily immediately after he hangs up the phone. It's almost like he's forgotten why he was on the phone in the first place. Okay, I want to do one more conversation, then we'll go to Accra. I want to do all of Accra just at once. So we're going to skip to the end. The the Harper and Sweetpea scene. Because in my opinion, this is it for Harper. Harper spends the entire episode kind of getting close to her humanity. And then on one hand, Sweetpea kind of asserts her independence and then follows it up by explaining Kwabena's betrayal, which I think then kind of just, well, we can argue whether it's betrayal or not.
I think it's a small B betrayal. I don't think it's like a capital B betrayal.
I mean, it depends on if...
I think it's like font size 12.
Do you think she's actually hurt?
It's not a headline. I think
she's definitely hurt.
Of course she is.
She's definitely hurt. But you don't think she's actually hurt?
I do think she's hurt. I'm just wondering whether she believes she has the right to be hurt, because that will determine what she does next.
I don't think it matters, man.
Yeah, for Harper, it doesn't really
I don't think Harper would
She's
think
just going to lash
that.
out regardless.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to think about that. I don't think she's going to think about whether she has the right or not.
Because she's looking at him and you can just tell, like, she's just, like, I started to fear for him in that final scene where she's
for
just sitting there with him. I was actually afraid for his life.
So,
I'm afraid for his future. Look what happened to DVD.
Mahala's voice, from the moment Sweetpea says that, bro, she's whispering for the rest of the episode.
Like menacingly.
And I was genuinely like, what is going on? What is this acting I'm seeing right now? Like, what is happening here? Like, she doesn't do it for like 5 seconds and then switches to normal. She's just whispering for the whole thing. And she's like, we're close. We're almost there. If anyone calls me, just tell them I'm working. I'm like, are we going to go to a normal level? Like, you're scaring me right now. It's so, like, she is... I don't know if there's more. I'm sure obviously there's more, but I don't know if there's like a big episode for Mahala going up rest of the season. But this episode does show the full kind of arc and the full arsenal of acting right here. It's like everything is like, she showed everything we've seen from Harper from season 1 is in this episode, and then things that we've never seen before. Like Mahala is so good as Harper in this episode. But yeah, the Sweetpea thing. I think when Sweetpea tries to assert her independence, again, Harper is taking her back. Like she feels disrespected. I'm like,
Was that disrespect?
But in my head, Sweetpea is treating her the way she's treating Eric.
Well, this is a classic case of not being able to
good point. I
take
didn't
what
make
you're
that
dishing, what
comparison.
you're dishing out, because I thought about that as well.
She's
saying the exact same things. So
It's the same thing.
So I actually thought, okay, maybe she's respecting it. Maybe she's taken aback and is like, okay, I understand that. That is my same kind of perspective. So I'm now wondering, is she actually having that empathy? Because essentially she's been kind of like her own move has been used on her. Or is she just like, nah, I'm going to punish that because I must remain on top?
Niggas are coming for her, so she's going to war.
If this happened 2 days
With
ago,
her own
maybe.
team?
Yeah.
I think in this moment, she's trying to be a human and she feels this rebuff as like it's like, oh, it's like, I don't know how to explain this. Sometimes someone does something like, you don't have the right, I'm being good. You don't have the right to tell me no kind of thing.
I think the word you're looking for is narcissism. But the thing is,
That's
like,
Harper.
Here's the thing, right? Sweetpea has gone through something dire, right? And Harper is aware of that. Like, Sweetpea got everything she wanted in this episode on some level. She validated her tenacity. She was proven right. But she breaks down at the end because she's paid a huge price for it. And now, right here, Harper is coming to ask to be taken care of. It's like Sweetpea needs space and time. And Harper is here saying like, okay, let's spend time together, because Harper herself needs healing. And she hasn't even explained why. She hasn't said, oh, my mom died or anything like that.
Yeah, but I don't think she's even saying that to Sweetpea. I think that might be like her underlying or ulterior motive for one.
She wants to connect 100%. Yeah.
But I do think she does feel some sort of pastoral care for Sweetpea. Like she sent Sweetpea to Ghana. Sweetpea got Africa.
Sweetpea came to this company, left Moston for her.
Sweetpea got
left
what?
Petra.
Sweetpea got
left
her.
Pierpoint. Like, Sweetpea has been following Harper around. So yeah, I actually admire that she's been feeling responsibility for Sweetpea. I guess Sweetpea is not currently in a state where she can fully process that to the point of reciprocation. But at the same time, Harper has to kind of be understanding, right? Like, you can't just lash out at somebody who literally is a cornered animal.
Here's the difference between Harper and normal people. And let me speak for myself. Sometimes, well,
you set yourself up for that. We'll continue.
I'm using it very, very loosely. But like, sometimes somebody could be going through something, right? And even if you do, and they say something that like annoys you, and like but then what different between us and Harper is that we can then go in and introspect and be like, actually, no, that person is going through something. Let's give them the grace, right? Harper doesn't have that. Harper is like, you've annoyed me, full stop. She doesn't have the awareness to go up and think, well, Sweetpea just went through all this in Accra, so I can give her the grace. Like, Harper is like, no, I try to show you kindness and
you must suffer.
Yeah.
Maybe not even suffer, but just like, you will never see that side of me again.
Yeah. That's actually what it is.
Like, I try to show you kindness, you rebuffed it, so never mind.
It's done. And I won't show kindness again because I tried it with you. And that means guys don't like
for
it.
For us, well, like, we try to show kindness. Well, Sweetpea was going to something. Let's try it again with somebody else or sometime later. But Harper is just like, And then it compounds the fact that, like, Kwabena, who she has cheated on before, but I guess maybe the fact that she could say that I don't know. She could explain to herself that, like, he said...
There's no amount
There's actually nothing. Like,
I see what you're trying to do, but you can't.
There's actually nothing. Sweetpea asked her in the episode, like, I assumed it was casual. And then Harper says it was casual.
She's forced to say yes.
It was.
So, something about Mahala's acting in that scene. When Sweetpea tells Harper, if you look at Harper's face, Harper is at first, like, shocked and sad, but very quickly, she covers it up. Like, almost instant is like, no, I can't show that. Like, her immediate reaction is to be sad that Kwabena did that. And I mean, very quickly, you can see it in Mahala's facial reaction. Very quickly, she covers it and was like, no, that's not the right reaction. That's not the thing I need to show. Like, she is a sociopath. Like, as complimentary as I can give it, Harper is a sociopath. It's like,
complimentary.
Like, very, very quickly, she covers up. It's like, that's not the right reaction for, like, her humanity comes up and then she covers up very quickly and she's like, that's not what this situation should show. So no, I think it's like, I believe that she does feel for Sweetpea. And this, which is why, again, the theory about her releasing Sweetpea's nudes, I'm really hoping that's not a true thing. Because, like, this episode, she's shown that, like, she feels some kind of care for Sweetpea. And I just think it's like, when Sweetpea rebuffs her, she's like, okay, well, I tried. You guys don't want good Harper.
Guys don't want it. Guys don't want it.
You don't want reformation.
We're going to work. We're going to work.
Even that scene with Kwabena, she's kind of giving some like, she's like, we're so close. And Kwabena is like, we?
Us?
And she's like, yeah, the business is so close. Like, she's a villain in that scene. She's giving it up to, like,
look, it was
Batman.
like mafia stuff. I was scared.
There's a point where the camera lingers on Kwabena a bit just to show that he too is a bit unsure what's going on. Okay, should we go to Accra?
Might as well.
Or is there anything else you want to touch on?
One thing. So after Eric's, or are we going to come back to Eric and his family?
Let's finish this, Let's just finish Eric now. Eric now.
So Eric's
Someone
family
did.
comes to stay the night, which in my head means he calls Lily when he picks up the phone. I've assumed that he did cross the Rubicon and become a human man for a second.
As in they are there because he invited them, not because they were looking for him.
Yes.
Okay.
No, because he invited them. And then Candace brings her. First of all, I love the way that they just absolve her of any repercussions or punishment.
I was like, this is how you know you're a Nigerian parent.
Bro,
like, there's nothing a punishment can teach.
That
I was like,
that didn't even cross my mind. I actually thought, okay, maybe this is just the initial we are still in shock stage. I am hoping actual. Oh, you think it's done? Okay, let me reframe my thinking on this one because that's insane.
Right now. Essentially, that's what they said.
What? So then how are they shocked that she's in this position?
It's like, there's nothing she can learn.
If this is what they have taught her about consequences. But you know what? I'm not a parent.
If this show was focused on Candace's point of view, the show would show that, like, despite the fact that Eric is a piece of shit, some of this blame lies on Candace as well. Like, she's still the mother. Like, a lot of children have had their parents break up and they end up doing this. But obviously, we're focused on Eric, so we're not going to. But like, both parents here are bad. Let's be clear. Both parents here are not good parents.
Yeah. Candace does manage to land a good line in this scene, though.
Excellent. In this scene. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My
I mean,
in
this scene.
Oh, okay.
In this scene where she tells Eric not to mistake his regret for love.
Yeah, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, because the daughters will feel that. And then Eric goes to bed. He can't sleep.
Well, for what? He's sleeping in work trousers and his shirt. That's why he can't
He
sleep.
was not trying to sleep. You know this.
Like,
he didn't commit to the plot.
Yeah, he was trying to sleep. Man, you're right. You're right. He didn't try very hard.
He was not trying to sleep.
He didn't try very hard.
I'm sorry, you cannot have this suite that is basically your office and your bedroom and your dining area, and you have only one bed and like a tiny couch. There's no in between. There's no pull-out couch. There's no, like, it's just. I was like, you didn't really try to sleep. You know what you're trying to do.
Like, you're paying them $100,000 a month. You can't ask for
extra
did that,
anything. That's crazy. $100,000 a month
said
is
that,
crazy.
I was like, excuse me?
What is the run rate?
Shit.
Because, like, even if they are just rented somewhere.
Like they could have literally just gotten a house and it would have been better than this. $100,000 a month?
Yeah, but then he will need to do.
Is it just so they don't have to buy
stuff.
their own food? Which, and what am I saying? They're buying the food from the hotel.
Cleaning, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Man, anywho, Eric then calls his little lady friend, goes down, and utters the most ridiculous line in this episode. And there are a lot of ridiculous lines in this episode. But then he utters the most ridiculous line in this episode. Make me feel big. Fuck me, man.
I didn't know that was a thing people could say during sex. It's like, I was
fuck me.
Do you know that actually reminds me of something
big. Yes, Daddy.
Peter Campbell said in Mad Men, because that literally happened there. Like, it was this weird situation where a bunch of them ended up in this brothel, which it's like the best word I can use to describe where they went. And then
is this early Mad Men? I can't remember this.
Somewhat early. And then there's this girl that he meets there and everything, and he's just been annoyed, I think, by Dawn or something, and she's saying all these things to try and like get him in the mood, so to speak. She says a bunch of things. She's like, "Oh, what do you want me to do to you?" Da 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 da. Eventually, she just stops. She pauses and says, "You're my king." And then he's like, that'll do. That, this literally reminded me of that. Because you know what else happened in that place? Yes, Peter Campbell. Because you know what else happened? He saw his father-in-law in that place.
It's fair. Yeah, that
Like,
feels very
this guy was going through it. That girl said, "You're my king." I just remember, like, that's my young age. I was like, wow. So this is how it is.
My young age.
This is how it
The
is.
fascism of our neurology. Yeah, he says, make me feel big. And it's, you know what? She's a pro. Let's just put it like that. She knows what she's doing.
She's actual professional.
She knows how to say the right things and do the right. And like, yeah.
Then Eric, I don't know if it's the next morning, but Eric is then looking at Sweetpea siren content.
It's before.
No, that happens before.
Okay.
I think that moment is the last time.
Is that the
we
first
see
time he's doing that?
That's my read
that?
of the scene. That's my read. My read is that, like, not that he goes. I mean, this is the. Again, maybe I'm trying to be nice to him the way you were nice to him earlier, but I don't think he's like. I think this is purely journalistic.
Yeah, he's trying to kind of look up what it is about the whole Sweetpea thing, essentially.
I don't think he's like jerking off to the Sweetpea.
And they transition
I think this is
to
like,
it from Accra, which I guess we might as well now go to Accra.
Yes. I mean, just to mention that, like, the stuff it says forward. So it's like...
From a Daniel Miller. Like, who the hell is this?
City Tart.
City
oh my
Tart.
God. Yeah, let's go to Accra. Sweetpea is so stressed from the moment this episode starts. It's like, nobody's listening to me. All of you are dumb. And I hate all of you.
Who do you think needs this win more, Sweetpea or Harper? Like, emotionally?
Sweetpea.
Definitely.
Sweetpea.
I agree. She needs to win more emotionally.
I think it's Harper?
You guys. Harper was willing to go to jail behind this. Harper is willing to do crimes.
Yeah, but like...
But that's not emotional. That's more reputational, no?
Yeah, I think I know. Like, in the end,
Harper wants it so much more. I think Sweetpea feels like she needs it because, like she says, she's giving all her time and energy. And she doesn't think she might get another
but Harper
job.
definitely wants it more. You're right.
I think this is everything to Harper. This is Harper's life. That's why she's willing to go to jail behind this.
Yeah.
But like, if it doesn't work out, Harper can always do something. Like, for Sweetpea, I think to her, this is it. This is life or death.
Because Sweetpea is starting to see...
That's disagree on that one.
No, here's the thing, right? You can disagree because I think you're right to disagree because she's probably wrong. But the thing is, she's starting to see herself in a similar frame as Harper tends to view things from her own life, in the sense that all options behind me that I have gone through already are closed to me. It's either this works or it's nothing else. Sweetpea is feeling, okay, nobody's ever going to hire me again. I need this to work so that it's louder than my mistakes. It's louder than the L that I've taken. And that's where she's going. And that's kind of how Harper operates regularly. Like, Sweetpea is she basically adopts Harper's frame of mind for one episode and loses it. Dude, she tells you what Harper is going through on a normal basis.
I don't know, man. Sweetpea has a mother that loves her.
Exactly.
Fair. You guys, this is everything to Harper.
Yeah.
I think maybe for me, I think I know, it's not listen to both of you, I think I know what it is. For me, Harper is always do or die. Yeah. I think because I'm seeing Sweetpea do or die for the first time, I'm like, okay, it must actually be do or die.
Yeah. fair.
She was willing to dash somebody $20. Dash.
She said dash. I loved it.
She said dash. I was like, what? Who did this?
Oh my God. I was like, oh, dash it. $20 is crazy.
Literally, it's actually insane. It's actually insane.
What's $20 in Naira?
To the Ghanaians, it's not as crazy as it is.
It's like 30K now.
Yeah.
In Naira, that's 30K?
Yeah. Dollars are 1.5. I don't know. I haven't looked in a while. But I pegged it
I don't
to
know
my
I don't know what the CD exchange. Okay, I guess
that shall be less of a wow factor.
It's not too bad for a bribe.
Not that bad, man. Like, that's I feel like that's a very normal bribe.
Yeah, it's a normal bribe, actually, yeah. Because the way Nigeria is now, it's actually a very normal bribe. When I went back last year. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's just start. Let's work our way back. Let's start with the main thing. Eyo, do you want to explain what Sweetpea uncovers in Accra?
First of all, I need to tell you about the pressure that they are feeling. Because we get a visit from Kenny in this episode, and Kenny's like, yo, Fender is growing from strength to strength.
Which means you guys.
We hear a word two words last episode and then this episode, I was like, you don't say that's not a payoff. Margin call. Once they said margin call, I was like, oh, we're in trouble. Like, so we're in trouble, right? Too. Like, you thought that, but yeah.
I mean, there will be a margin call if they don't either put more equity behind their positions or their short actually begins to make money. So Sweetpea goes to Ghana to investigate a couple things. She wants to see if there is anything to Swift GC and anything to Tony Day. So Swift GC is the payment processor, I guess. If I remember correctly, it's a payment processor that's based in Ghana that Tender have acquired for 50 million. So Sweetpea goes to Ghana. She strolls on the streets of Ghana as a white woman, which not unrealistic. Not unrealistic.
But I still screamed. Like, I literally said out loud, by yourself in the streets?
Yeah. I went to Ghana for the first time. I went to Accra for the first time last year for a wedding. And it was a wedding of people that live in the UK. So there were some white people that went with us. They were strolling on the street by themselves, bro. They were strolling on the street by themselves. Not even in packs.
Just by themselves.
Singular white people.
I mean, that happened when I went to Nigeria for the wedding as well.
I don't think it's as unrealistic as it might have looked. Anyway, so she goes to the address for Swift GC and finds out that it's just a PO box. Finds out that their office is just that PO box. And then that's where she dashes the man $20 and then he gives her the phone number that she can use to call Swift GC. And it plays the Tender music. So she's like, yo, is this a dead end? But then also, this is weird. Then they go to meet Tony Day. She, meets Kwabs. They go and meet Tony Day. Tony Day stalls them, I guess, as a power move, and then only gives them 5 minutes. But what she's really trying to suss out is, do you know there's something shady going on, and are you willing to tell me?
Like, are you involved, essentially?
Yeah. That really doesn't come to anything. He gives them 5 minutes, swats them away. But Sweetpea, brains of this whole op, is like, okay, I know the next step to go to. So she finds the lawyer that actually put together the deal.
The merger.
Yeah, the merger. Well, the acquisition for Tender to buy Swift GC. She thinks it's a little weird that it's a lawyer, but she's like, okay, fine, let's go and meet him. Find out that his name is actually Lawyer, which killed me because it just reminded me of a Lai Wasabi sketch.
It's a Lai Wasabi sketch.
It's a Lai Wasabi sketch. So how much are you going to pay Lawyer now? What?
I was thinking about it. You guys just said that.
But it's the truth.
It's so true, though. Oh my God.
So how much do you want to pay Lawyer? Is essentially what the guy said to them. Anyway, so she's asking this lawyer question.
We've lost like 2% of our American listeners just now.
I think you should include a Lai Wasabi sketch in the show
sketch.
Oh God.
Include one of his lawyer sketches.
One of his lawyer ones. Okay.
Very good. Yes. So she's talking to this lawyer. They're talking to the lawyer. She insults him by asking him what the fee structure was like. And he's like, yo,
she doesn't know you don't do that here.
I have my accountant guy. I have my tax guy. What the hell are you asking me these questions for? Are you sick? But I think this is the crux of it, right? Like her suspicions are well founded because if you're doing a $50 million deal, you're not going to get a lawyer. You're not going to get Lai Wasabi to do that for you. Lai Wasabi is supposed to be doing like Wills, I'm going to execute your 500,000 naira estate. It's not doing 50.
You get a company. You get
you get a bank. You get an investment bank.
Yeah.
Because $50 million is a lot of money. So you're going to have to do your due diligence, run all your financial models, make sure it makes sense for you, the buyer, and also you, the seller, that you're not going to be subsumed by a company that's just going to do rubbish. So all of that's on the table, but everywhere Sweetpea and Kwabs are going, they're just getting sorted away. So they go to a karaoke bar. And this is where I feel like the episode really takes a turn. This is where they literally turn up the darkness.
Once his accent jumped out. Once he started using Ghanaian accents, the
Hey,
episode
I'm
changed.
coming.
But he warned us. He was like, I'm going to lay this on thick, so be ready. I'm going to dance for the white women. He warned us about that.
Hey, I'm coming. So
Oh,
while we had karaoke, SP Sweetpea gets a call from
TD. TD.
Sweets. That's what Eric calls her in this episode, which I found super cute. Anyway, so Sweets gets a call from 20 Day, and 20 Day is essentially like saying, hey, can I come in from the cold? Please. Will he be able to take me in? And she's like, what are you talking about? And then he realizes that she's not linked to little Jimmy Dycker, who was apparently trying to set up a way for him to, become a whistleblower and get out of this alongside his editor. So he figures that out, that she can't really help him here. And then he blatantly says, hey, we're going to try to kill you. We're going to send somebody.
Before that, I love that when he realizes he's like, he knows he's being listened to. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never met Jim Dycker. Yeah. It's like, well,
I never met him.
I didn't meet him, Miss Golightly. It's like, and first time I was trying to decipher, but when the episode ends, I'm like, oh, okay, that's him. He knows people are listening, so he's trying to be very clear that, hey, I never met this reporter guy. I didn't even know he was dead. I don't know what his plans are. Please don't kill me. It's like,
but even with that though, like even if he knows people are listening, why would he then warn Sweetpea?
The beach gets dangerous at night. Like,
why would he warn her?
I don't think he doesn't want her dead. Like it's also something that can be played off as a normal statement.
Did you guys think he sent? Because I feel like she thinks he sent the guy. I don't think he.
I think he knew the guy was coming. But
I think he knew the guy was coming.
But the person above him sent the guy.
Yeah. Anyways, so the guy comes. He attacks Sweetpea, breaks her nose. She gets super jacked up because
he doesn't before he attacks Sweetpea, which I want to talk about.
Oh God, I actually don't want to talk about that. But go ahead.
But I need to talk about it. I need to know if I'm too woke or not. I just need to know.
You're dressed up for it, anyways.
Whoa!
That's a crazy statement. But he licks her face.
Yeah.
What were your initial reactions when that happened? Like,
AJ is gonna hate this episode.
Pure disgust. Pure disgust.
I was coming from hey, African licking the white woman's face. Should we do that? So I'm trying to figure out my feelings on this.
Didn't like it.
Your feelings.
Back away turned on. Did it turn you on?
I was not turned on. What are you talking about?
He said trying to figure out your feelings. I'm like, whoa, what are we
my feelings are like, no, as in like, should I be angry at this, or is it just the show being the show, or like, am I uncomfortable? It's like
I think you're uncomfortable. I think in the same way that Eric says Kwabena should stop ordering that chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
It's like, bro, like I get it.
But in my head, it's like, it's so funny because the way he said that was just so matter of fact. Like there was no real process. He just said like, yo, he's ordering chicken wings though.
If I was Kwabena, I would order chicken wings.
I would too. And he needs to stop. So I get it. And honestly, that's how that scene played out for me. I think it's the same. It's two sides of the same coin.
It's like this is what would happen, but you're uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
It's like Kwabena coming late.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Okay.
Yeah, continue. Ebube doesn't like Kwabena coming late as well. But like we all don't like it, but it's the truth. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Like,
it's just not the representation we need.
But it's the truth.
That's the truth.
We can't blame them for writing the truth.
Why is everyone else's story painted in a good light, but ours has to be the truth?
I mean, no, it's not. Charles and Annie was doing a sex ring. Not everyone's story is painted in a good light in the show.
I'm fucking his sister. Never forget.
They had a bohemian childhood.
Never forget. You know what? That's some white people shit. Yeah.
I actually forgot. I didn't speak to his sister.
Yeah,
my God. Anyway,
oh my God.
Okay, so back to Sweetpea. Sweetpea gets attacked.
Okay, sorry, one more thing. The director of that scene, I still don't know how they did it. Because that punch.
I watched that thing a few times. I was like, how did they film this?
I watched it 3 times.
There's no cut. I can't really tell. Like, it's just
like when did they put the stuff? Yeah,
it's just excellent.
Boom. At one point, I thought maybe I did see a slight cut, but I just kept wondering, like, yo, the production of this entire sequence, amazing, because you feel it. You feel it every step of the way.
The first time, like, I shook that punch. That's crazy. Punch. I was. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Don't punch ladies, guys.
Yeah, don't.
So Sweetpea gets punched in the face for rebuffing this man that I think probably came to kill her, but also maybe just to send a message.
I think it was sending a message.
And then, she comes out of the bathroom, broken nose, meets Kwabs. They go back to the hotel. They have a little heart-to-heart where he does a lot in this conversation.
He does a lot.
He does a lot in this conversation. He gives what is probably my favorite line delivery of the episode.
God, I think it might be the same one.
My favorite line delivery.
It's definitely the same one.
Okay, cool, fine. Yes.
So much disrespect for your audience. You should run a movie studio.
No, not that. Not the line. I mean the
That
delivery.
was second. That's the second one. I
For me,
love
that was
that line.
absolute
What was
gold.
yours?
What was yours?
When Sweetpea asks him, "Have you seen it? Have you seen my siren concept?" And then he goes, "Okay, cool, fine, yes, fuck it, I saw it, yes." That's fine, bro. It's a lot of words in there. You can just be like, yes.
He talked like he was under duress.
He was.
That's never mine either. So we all have three different ones. Mine was when he asks her if she likes porn, and she's like, yeah, like anyone who grew up on this. And he's like, what do you make of that bird that got tucked in by 1,000 youths in Shiesties? I was like, bro.
After the episode we just had, it's like,
good.
It's like you think about you're watching the show week to week, like just a regular viewer who's not us, like somebody who's just like watching the show casually and isn't overthinking it. It's like, wait, why did the writers keep talking about this babe?
First of all,
oh my God.
So let me talk about Toheeb first in that scene, because his line delivery is so excellent.
It's
He
incredible.
runs through that sentence in like 3 seconds. So he makes it sound like a title of a poem.
A throwaway line, yeah.
or even like a Shakespeare play. It's like, what do you make of the bird that got tucked in by 1,000
He talks about it like
youths in
it's just a
Shiesties?
matter of factly, it's content that we are just aware of. He doesn't have to explain it.
He almost sings it. Yeah, he almost sings the sentence. It's just a beautiful sentence. But also, I don't know if this is, obviously, we just said, because of what happened last episode, what Dyker's ex was talking about, and then what Dyker was talking about in the Rishi scene.
Mm-hmm.
This is now a clear example of what they're trying to talk about this season. And it's kind of like, I didn't think they were going to talk about it like this, like our relationship to porn and the prevalence of porn and like the things that it's, because like, it's like, Dyker is like, look, before it was one Marilyn Monroe you come across in your life.
Marilyn Monroe.
Now you just scroll. You can scroll on Twitter, the appropriately named app called X. It's like you can just scroll and just kind of
Kwabena says it as well in this episode. I can see anyone doing anything with anyone. Like,
so I was like, oh, you guys want to talk about that? That's. I was like, okay, that makes sense. This is something you guys want to talk about in this season.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's Bonnie Blue that is the 1,000. Oh no, is this who is the 1,000 guys?
I don't know these people, Bankole. What are you talking about?
Okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
like
I knew you were going to do that. That's why I said I knew you were going. Okay, whatever, man, whatever. I'm not even gonna. I'm not into shock.
And also, by the way, just
name some black ones. I'll know them.
Wow.
No,
okay.
well, black ones don't do this.
100% they don't. And also, maybe does this mean there's more than one? Because the one that I'm aware of, it was 100, not 1,000.
So
is there another one?
Someone did 100, then someone one up them by doing 1,000.
Oh my God, are you serious?
And then there's this shiesty one is real, because there were 1,000 guys came to our house wearing shiesties, wearing masks, because they didn't want their face on the internet.
Yeah,
this is a real thing. This is not a joke. This is a real
and
thing.
then people are finding
it was a joke. I just thought it was referencing the 100 one, and they were just one-upping it.
They're recognizing their dicks.
Yeah. They know there's like telltale signs, like a birthmark here. They were like, you were there, weren't you? And this is your friend because
what?
Because he cut himself here the other day.
That's
bro.
I don't know
what is going on. Is crazy.
Let me not name, because I can't remember which girl this was that did this. But yeah, so it's actually a real thing. Anyway, let's finish, because let's get to the actual tender.
Yeah, because we haven't actually gotten to
we haven't got to the actual plot.
What the plot was.
Like an hour and a half in, but yeah.
Okay, so they consummate their conversation, their love.
Right, nice.
And then Kwabena is like he's fucked into agency.
He's focused.
In his personal clarity, he's able to then...
His whole demeanor towards this trip just changes.
Which,
by the way, the most African thing he did in this episode, is complain about the AC, right? They just had to include that.
Yeah, I loved how Sweetpea was more comfortable in Ghana than Kwabena.
Yeah.
Like,
she
Kwabena was just hot.
She treated him like IJGB the entire time. She's like, you say you know Accra. Do you know Accra?
Like, stop this prodigal son.
Me and local, man. That's what Sweetpea told you.
Anyway,
okay, so So once he's able to nut and then he's focused, he remembers that he has an auntie that can help him. So he sets up a meeting with one of the heirs of the holding company that owned Swift GC.
Yeah, Murdoch and Kenty.
They go and meet her, and then they find out that nobody ever paid $50 million for Swift GC. Like it's only worth the land that the office is on. That's 100% of the worth of Swift GC. So they go to visit the office. They find out that there's just two men there, two security guards who, not sure what they're watching. It looked like a choir, but then I was like, what are you guys watching?
I couldn't really tell.
Anyways, that's what helps them blow the whole case open. So what happens is, pre-pivot, Tender has been lying about everything, right? So they lied about their user numbers. So they lied, they had more users than they had.
They had 2 Indias. Yeah.
Yeah, which would have then meant they needed to lie that those new users or those users are bringing in more revenue. With more revenue, you have to do something with that revenue. So they used their fake revenue to buy a fake company in Swift GC for a completely fake amount of money. So they said it's 50 million, but it would not have been. Sweetpea estimates as probably 3 cents on the dollar or less, which is ridiculous.
And then the rest is for bribes.
And then the rest would have been for bribes. And this is what they have just kept doing. So they inflate their numbers. So now that they bought Swift GC, quote unquote, they have more users. So damn, they have to have more revenue. So now they have to have more cash to invest and go and buy somewhere else. They use a lot of words here, which I really enjoyed. It's an Ouroboros. It's a Potemkin village. The thing is nothing.
The thing is nothing.
All of them from Kwabena, by the way.
Yes.
The thing is nothing.
A feedback loop of fakery. So they finally cracked the case. Tender is built on bullshit, and they go and confront Tony Day, and he gives them the indication that he's ready to become a whistleblower. This is it. This is the end game.
We're in the end game
We're
now.
in the end game now.
Not to kick him out when he's down, but Jonah must have been a terrible CEO because he knows nothing about this. Like, this is crazy.
He 100% knows nothing about this. He was like, "Oh, we should keep like." Now you see a different angle of why Whitney was so keen on leaving this behind and becoming a bank. Because it's when they become a bank that the money can finally stop moving. Because like Harper indicated, right? And this was clear, like you followed the explanation. The money never stops moving. That's the only reason it exists. Because nobody can stop to check if it's there.
Yeah.
So they need to make sure.
They're like, oh, we gave it to CGC. Yeah.
Like Wire, what's the name of that big scandal? Wirecard?
I don't know this.
Wirecard sounds like such a fake name for a company.
Very famous audit scandal where they said they had 2-point-something billion in the bank and then they just didn't. Just wasn't there.
My own area of expertise is like white women who are fucked by 1,000 men in shysties. That's where I know my own things.
Fair.
Yeah.
Name them, Bankole. What's their name?
I don't know their names.
Guess you're not an expert then.
God.
Oh, true. I'm an expert in like the general idea. I try not to go too in depth. I don't want to see the
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. Sorry, Ebube.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the plot. That's where we are. Like, Harper is gonna use this information and put it out there, and hopefully with the corroborative evidence. Basically, they just need Tender stock to drop. They're not trying to save the world. They're not trying to. Although Harper did have a streak of like, let's do the right thing. Obviously, we know it's for selfish reasons, but like some of the things we're saying were like.
It's something that I actually wanted to touch on, like generally, like. A lot of the men in this episode were like, why are we doing this? Kwab's asks, like, now that, so if you prove Tender is a house of cards, are you going to end all financial crime? And Eric asked a very similar question to Harper. And I'm just like, why? Why are the men asking these questions?
And then Harper is like, well, at least we won't be lying to the world for profits. So it's almost like, it's not, like obviously we know there's some selfish thing 100%, but like it's not entirely, I don't know. I'm not going to give her the gold badge for being a good person just yet, but like it seemed like maybe it's the effrontery from her that this man is going to do this and lie to people, including herself. That is like maybe that's what's getting her triggered.
To be fair to Harper in a way that I've been fair to Eric in this episode, from season 3, like when she's trying to set up this short-only fund with Mostyn, this is what she wanted to do, right?
Fair.
She wanted to find bad companies and short them.
Yeah, companies are strict. I think it comes to that line and things like that.
Yeah.
We've been here a while, and like I said, the interview with Sam Rogers is going to appear in this episode in a second. So I guess let's kind of wrap up towards the Ebube. Is there anything else you want to touch on? Because I know you have to head out soon.
I think we pretty much covered everything. I will say though that one thing I wondered was why Sweetpea suddenly wanted to be intimate with Kwabena.
She was so
would you say it's not sudden? Like I'm wondering,
I think sometimes you just need to get the poison out.
I think she was so jacked up that she just needed some release.
Maybe because other than that, it would then be like, because obviously we've been having conversations about Yasmin's own reasons for doing stuff like this, and it's just the transition as well from
you're doing what
that to Eric.
You're doing what Sweetpea says she doesn't like to do. Not everything is sweet.
Not everything has a why.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. It's true. Like,
but I think it's he's an attractive person. She's attractive. He knows she finds they know they find each other attractive. It's like we're both here.
They're on tour.
They're on tour.
Man.
There's no, and to her, I think she generally thinks it's a casual thing with Harper. So it's like, why can't we're two consenting adults? Why can't we? Yasmin's a different case because, well, that's for next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Haley has something for us next week.
That's my biz, man. Let's go.
Hey, anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think I covered everything. This
do you have any big lines you want to shout out before you head out? Favorite lines from the episode?
I think one of my favorites was just, I think I shouted all of them out at some point. I think one of my favorites was probably that one about, being a movie studio. But also I have to give Kwabena an extra shout out for his description of boarding schools, like burglary and emotional retardation. I was like, what?
Back as well. Well, episode 3, what did Moritz say? That for every 10 valid homosexuals, 9 are made from boarding school, something like that.
British boarding school, not just boarding school, the British boarding schools.
And even the fact that Brexit somehow has to feature somehow every time, like Doombrain mugs, convincing other Doombrain mugs.
Hey, it's the reality.
And it's facts, man.
It's facts.
Facts.
My only other line that we didn't mention is when Candy says to Eric at the start, if you tip them enough, they'll walk out down the aisle for you as well.
Yeah, my goodness, wow. That was...
No one can hurt you quite like the women you love.
No. Why did you sit down there and start looking off to the distance as if you're remembering some daggers you've been given?
What did you do?
Because they see you.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, I am loath to end this episode because this was, again, an excellent episode of television, a great episode of podcasting, but we have more. Please, guys, if you're listening to this far, please listen to the discussion with Simon Rogers. It's actually quite good, very good and very illuminating. Ebube, any final thing? Do you have any thoughts for us quickly?
In the room, the Africans exchanged the bribes while the white men talked.
They do.
Never forget.
Oh, sorry. With iPhone charger.
That was one of my overhead lines. Original iPhone.
Keeps drinking my drink.
Charger.
This is Guinness, not the blood of Jesus.
Really good. Really good.
Oh God. This episode, bro.
The blood of Jesus. Oh my God. I think I now know how white people feel watching most media, because terms of this episode will not be enjoyed by majority of the audience because they don't know all these things. So I guess representation.
This is why representation matters.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Eyo, thank you. Ebube, thank you very much for coming over from Trading Desk. Mm-hmm. We'll be back for 3 more episodes of the season. I'm sure things are hitting up now. We love it when the show gets better as it goes on in the season. So 4 was excellent, 5 was beyond excellent. So we'll see what the last 3 have. As always, please, if you're listening to us on any audio platform, please like and subscribe. And please just go to YouTube and just like us on YouTube. You don't have to even watch on YouTube. Just like us if you like this. And then if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch them. I'm just trying to say, I don't want to give them double work. Please share. If your industry is a very, very small but loyal community, so if anyone that watches industry, please share with them. And check out our episodes every week. We talk about the episodes every week, previewing the next episode. I'm also covering Knights of 7 Kingdoms, which is halfway through, 3 episodes left. So or 2 episodes though, at the time you listen to this.
Big reviews.
So please check that out as well. A very, very fun and warm show, which is not something you should say about Game of Thrones. Yeah, and please now enjoy our conversation with Simon Rogers, the production designer of Industry. Okay, so if you've listened to us discuss Industry over the past 2.5 seasons, then you probably heard us talk about how authentic the show feels. And not because we know the financial world, because we don't, or I don't especially, but because everything looks and feels so real. We know those busy and detached Pierpoint offices, the trading floor. I've played FIFA till 4 a.m. in a house like Roberts. I've walked some of the same streets that Sweetpea and Kwabena walk in this episode. So the artistry of the show goes beyond the excellent writing and acting and the things we see or don't see, but the things we definitely feel. And that's what makes this show so tactile and so real. So today, I have the absolute pleasure to be talking with one of the brilliant artists responsible for rendering such artistry on show every week, industry production designer Simon Rogers. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks very much for having me on board to join you and talk about this wonderful show. So yeah, very, very happy.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure. I just want to quickly start off that my co-host couldn't make this recorded and he wanted me to just let you know how sad he is about that. But yes, we are big fans of the show, as our listeners know, and I think we're happy to talk about in terms of the production design, especially in this episode. But before we go into all of that, a lot of our listeners are kind of people conversant in filmmaking, and then a lot of people trying to learn. So I guess since you're here as an expert, do you mind explaining what you do as a production designer? What does that entail?
A production designer is responsible for pretty much everything that's in front of the camera that's not an actor, or costume obviously attached to the actors and makeup, although we work very closely with those 2 other departments as well. So yeah, so basically it's to do with that, presenting everything and helping to create the worlds that are required for the storytelling, working closely with the directors and the DOPs or showrunners and producers. And so you're really at the center of it all in many, many ways, as we all are at the center of our own little world within the universe of making a show.
Yes, I think it's very difficult, people who are not like quite in tune with the whole production, to kind of know just how simultaneously siloed but also in communication with everybody each department is. Like you said, costume and production design work together, probably production design and cinematography and things like that. So I'm excited to for people to learn more about the production designer and what they do, because like many other people who are not on screen, they are the unsung heroes of filmmaking. Uh, you joined Industry in season 4, and I'm particularly interested in what that means for you coming into this season in particular, because we've ditched those Pierpoint offices I mentioned in the introduction, even the kind of quote unquote more normal couple of years out of school flats. Like I said, I played FIFA in some of those flats and houses when I was leaving uni. And now we're in like Harper's flat, we're in Eric's hotel suite, we're in Sweetpea's flat, which we see this episode. These characters are wealthier, they're more settled, they have more status this season. So what was the thinking behind when and how to show this new world in your work?
So I guess the ways in which I wanted to do that was just to sort of very much acknowledge everything that had gone before and all the amazing work that had been, put into kind of creating their lives at the different stages of obviously their evolution as characters. So coming in at a later stage for me was a fantastic opportunity to help sort of evolve that story on. And I know that Mickey and Conrad were obviously very keen to kind of keep letting the show evolve in different ways and to start dealing with different subjects and actually probably engaging with some slightly different genre filmmaking as well. So I could tell very early on that the ambitions of the show from season 1 were written very large, and was a massive fan of the show right from the beginning. Although I really came back to it at a slightly later stage, again, probably with, I think, probably season 3, largely on the recommendation of some friends I was working in Vancouver, and they were going, God, have you seen this show, Industry? It's amazing. And I went, yeah, I'm familiar with that show. And of course, I picked it up again off that recommendation and sort of realized that I'd been missing out on it a little bit, having let it sort of slightly fall by the wayside, as we're often guilty with There's lots of shows to watch, but also when you're busy, there's only so much time you have to watch some TV. But yeah, no, it definitely had a very firm place in my heart, and it was great to revisit that and actually see the incredible way in which everybody's character had developed, and just was very, very keen to sort of be involved and help to tell those stories. So yeah, when it came my way, I was thrilled. It was one of those sort of slightly chance encounters when you almost manifest something out of the universe. Just you build it, it will come. And no, I was very happy to be asked.
I can imagine what that transition is like, watching as a fan and then having to work on it also as a fan, but now as one of the people behind the scenes making the show. You mentioned Mickey and Conrad just now, and we're big fans of them on this podcast. I have never read any of their scripts, so I'm intrigued. Are their scripts very descriptive, or is it just Harper is in her flat, and then it's up to you to kind of imagine and create that world?
Like all scripts, you get an awful lot of latitude, to varying degrees, of course, to kind of imagine the world as you see it. It's often lifted off the page, and I'm quite visually imaginative. So as soon as I read something, I kind of instantly get a very strong sense of the imagery. There's nothing specific in too much of the sort of stage directions, however. So you have a fairly free reign, but I think the quality of the writing is so strong that in actual fact, it's very easy for Mick and Conrad to convey the sort of the depth and the look of the show. I mean, there are references, I think, in terms of designers and things. So you understand the pitch at which they're setting the world, and then quite quickly you have a series of conversations right from the start where you sort of come on board right at the beginning, or in fact get interviewed for the job. Where I like to put a very extensive list of visual references and influences that are kind of that I'm seeing as a way in which I can sort of hang the look of the show on those references, and quite quickly you can see if they go down well or not, off the initial response you get. And there's obviously a constant kind of tuning from the showrunners, from Mickey and Conrad, about taking things one way or the other a little bit. And so there's a really lovely interplay, and obviously with the producers, Jane Tranter as well. So the show is very precious to them, and I think they have a very clear idea about how they want their world to appear, and it's great just being given an opportunity really to tune into that, and that's sort of part of the skill. I think hopefully is you're talking about production design, but that's one of the things you need to be, is sort of sensitive to the expectations and the desires of the people you're working with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just thinking now about what you were saying earlier about, obviously, the show's evolution is something that we've kind of touched on every time we've covered the show. But has there ever been a time maybe you're working on something, you're like, oh, actually, maybe this is for a different version of the show? Or maybe this is for the show that we're not anymore. This was a season 2 version of Industry, and we kind of need to kind of evolve that. Has that ever occurred?
Yeah, there was one scene at the end of season 3, or maybe in the middle, where you've got Harper sitting on a bench. Can't remember who she's talking to. However, there's a real sense that I've got a feeling this show is going to be sort of leaning much more into the world of conspiracy dramas going forward. So I had that hunch, and then reading it, obviously, I think I was probably sent a couple of episodes before I got the job, and quite quickly you see there is a sort of central conspiracy at the heart of it. So you feel quite vindicated that maybe you spotted that a little bit, and I mean, that really kind of set the tone for the sort of show that I wanted to design for that seemed sort of correct. Pulling on some references from a lot of conspiracy dramas, often films that have existed before. So there was a long list of sort of a film list that we all kind of, I think, we all had in our minds when we were talking about a lot of the.
Can we get a sneak peek into that list?
Yeah, I mean, it was, to be honest, it was very sort of early 70s conspiracy dramas. I mean, The Parallax View perhaps was the strongest film for me, that really, there was something about, and it's not even really specifically a look, it's more of a sort of feeling, I think, that you get from a lot of those shows. So, yeah, and then some more recent films like Spotlight, and I've written them down. 3 Days of the Condor, obviously an earlier film. Dark Waters, again, was a sort of another kind of point of reference. So, yeah, there's a big old melting pot, which you
didn't
can't
expect
resist.
Spotlight. Won't have put Spotlight down on the list, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because when you remove the whole Catholic thing, it is a conspiracy thriller, right? It's
Yeah.
a reporter doing the job. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And they're strong, and they're also strong ensemble pieces as well. And I think that that's sort of an important decision that you have to sort of engage with. That you're telling sort of multiple storylines at once, dealing with lots of different characters, and trying to present their worlds. Like you talked about, and obviously seeing Sweetpea's flat, which was a lovely sort of seeing behind the veil of Sweetpea, sort of in the way in which she's sort of moved on, and I'm working very closely with costume designer and sort of really sort of targeting, where is she at in her, what's she wearing, what sort of money does she have? What's her apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just quickly, the scene you were referencing from season 3 is Harper with Otto Moston in the finale.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it's an encyclopedia of industry up here.
It's good. That's good.
I'd like to talk about, and we are, guys, I promise we're going to talk about like the big centerpiece of this episode in a second, trust me. But I'd like to talk about, just like you said, that collaboration between, I would like to start with costume design in particular, because I know you guys kind of collaborate on things like the logos and apparel and things like that. But a lot of this show, so before season 3, we did a little bit of like a piece in our newsletter where we kind of discussed Harper's hair evolution and what it says about the character. We're going to do that for the costume this season, but then we just ran out of time. So it's like the costume is not just, hey, these clothes look nice. It's telling a story. It's telling about where this particular character is right now. Either it could be simply as, oh, they are richer now, or they are going through a crisis, right? And then you as production designer kind of have to, I'm assuming, match that, because if they are dressing in a way that presents that they're going through a crisis and then their house is spick and span, it doesn't really tell the same story, right? So what kind of conversations do you have with like costume departments, or even cinematography?
Yeah, I mean, I would go and sit with costume designer Laura just to find out, where she was going with everything. And, I'm doing that more and more actually. Um, Finding moments where actually it's good just to she sort of spend some time with makeup as well and costume, just because I think often there's some really close conversations that they're having with the actors about their characters, and also with obviously with directors and writers or showrunners that sometimes I'm less likely to have unless I obviously go out my way to do that. Sometimes it can be a lot more for me, a lot about what are the locations, what they look like, what are the set builds look like, and actually it's what I'm realizing weirdly, sort of 30 years in, that there's still things that you need to kind of keep learning how to do. And so spending some time with those people that sometimes have a little bit more closer contact to the actors and the performers is really useful for me. And just to make sure that the picture of obviously environments that we're providing really align with obviously the look of what the actors are wearing. And it's really important to kind of create a really holistic world. And, we all want to be sort of totally 100% in tune. You can't sort of work in isolation at all in any of the roles. I think, you really, I mean, it's one of the things that I love about, the work that I do is that it is totally, totally collaborative. You're working together as a team and you're all sort of feeding off each other. So, and it makes for a very rich world, I think, if you're all working together as one in that way to sort of fulfill some sort of singular vision.
Yeah.
Even if it's a sort of collective singular vision, but it's obviously super important. So that relationship with costume and actually with makeup is very important to me.
Yeah, I've heard, I can't remember where I heard, I've heard actors say that like the makeup artists are kind of people that have the most intimate conversations with, because again, they're just right there on your face. So it makes sense
Yeah.
that you would have to do things like the character, and I assume, so
Mm.
if you, for example, production cannot talk with Mahala or Marissa, then it's easier to say, oh, with the makeup, what is the makeup saying in this episode, or what is the
Mm.
character? So that makes a lot of sense. Something I didn't actually even consider. I was focused more on costume and
Yeah.
cinematography, but
Yeah, I mean, weirdly, it's something that's sort of become more and more useful to me in the last sort of 3 or 4 years. I guess sometimes you're doing a show which is a lot more, in depth with the characters, and on certain melodramas or certain shows, it just requires a slightly different approach sometimes, rather than operating in a world of sort of bigger, broader strokes sometimes. So yeah, it's yeah. I mean, every project obviously requires a slightly different approach.
yeah.
And industry was fantastic because you could really sort of pull out all the tricks. Really, it was high production value, but sometimes kind of small moments. Yeah, so
Yeah,
the range. shows.
Yes, it's one of those. I think, and this is, I'm just going to veer off into industry nerd corner for a second, but I think it's kind of maybe because of, again, how the show has evolved. And like, not taking anything from season one, but season one is, like you said, quite intimate and almost like a chamber piece in terms of like these four characters at work and then they're at home. So I think once you start with that kind of intimate center, the more you expand to involve all these other things, you still have that core intimacy. So it makes sense that you can tell the macro story and also tell the kind of more focused one, and which is one of the reasons why we love the show, because like they could be telling this big conspiracy thriller, but also the best scenes. I've discussed it. My best scenes in this episode are just two characters talking. Like
Yeah,
2 years from now, I wouldn't remember the tender plot line, but I would
yeah,
remember like the Harper and Eric scene and the like
yeah,
Harper and Sweetpea scene, because that's like it works on so many levels, and that's what makes it so beautiful to watch and to go over
yeah.
weekly and in such in
Yeah.
depth.
The
Yeah.
writing also is just beautiful. I think
Hmm.
Mickey and Conrad's words are just so pleasurable to listen to. Um, Between those scenes, where you've got two people in a room, and they put a lot of work into that as well. So yeah, it's yeah, that's brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, when I was rewatching season 3, I messaged my co-host when we're prepping for season 4, and I said, Mickey and Conrad don't write like normal people speak. And I said that in the most complimentary way possible. It's like we all wish we could speak like this, and we had like this kind of words at the tip of our tongue ready to go. And like some of my favorite writers write like this. Like Sorkin doesn't write like normal people speak. Tarantino doesn't write like normal people speak, right? It's like, but the way that they're able to make this world feel so lived in and real, but at the same time, these characters are quoting plays and kings that I've never heard of. And like, it's just like, I love the way their brain works when it comes to the writing.
Yeah, it's operatic, isn't it, on occasion?
Operatic,
And it
yeah.
should be, yeah. Very literary and and like a lot of good movies as well, the writing is at the center of it. So I don't necessarily want to watch something that, you hear people talking in a normal kind of way. You wanna
Yeah.
enjoy it. And so
Yeah.
and I think we approach the look of the show in the same sort of way. So everything is, is tweaked a little bit. It definitely hopefully kind of creates a sort of recognizable, identifiable world for the viewer. But there is obviously a slightly heightened kind of, perhaps in this season a little bit more,
Hmm.
but yeah, that was also intentional. Yeah, and I think the characters, they're obviously recognizable as the people that we know and love from season one, but the expectations of what they're able to achieve is growing, in the same way in which the
Hmm.
expectations of the show is growing. And I think I'm really excited to see where it goes next, and where they all go next too.
Yeah.
Because the pleasure is always in them, their stories, and the challenges that they face.
Speaking of heightened, if you don't mind, I would like to rewind to episode 2. Our little journey into Henry Mock's psychology. Um,
Yeah, what an episode.
what an episode. I'm sure you had so much fun kind of designing the episode. But one of the things that struck me was how different the Norton Manor felt in this episode as opposed to the season 3 finale. Now, obviously, like we said,
Mm,
you came in this season, so there's some changes there, and I'm sure this was a collaboration between all departments.
mm,
But if I'm being more specific, I was kind of floored by the fact that none of the parts of the castle that we see in the season 3 finale reappear in that episode 2, and vice
mm.
versa. So then the house or the manor, the castle, whatever, goes from feeling like this vast and luxurious space to this kind of like more intimate, almost claustrophobic collection of rooms. I don't know. Was there any thinking behind this? Like not repeating locations?
Yeah, I mean, we did reuse two of the central locations. It was always split across two houses originally, and and I think we probably introduced maybe a third and a fourth, largely out of schedule.
Hmm.
On occasion, the decisions that sometimes you make have to kind of align in a multitude of ways. It has to obviously be right for the look and feel of the show, but sometimes also it has to. Then there's the practicalities of the schedule that you have to kind of just adhere to, and so which sometimes requires you to forces you to shoot in other places sometimes for the convenience and the efficiency of the filmmaking process. So that led something, but also that did align with. I was very keen to kind of present a sort of, I suppose. I mean, I think they've done this previously, but a sort of a little bit because we were spending a little bit more time in the house essentially, and also it was a horror story essentially that the character, the decisions that sort of required a sort of certain, I guess a certain approach that made me choose sort of one room over another in different houses that we were shooting in. And also I like the idea of sort of showing sort of behind the scenes a little bit, and also, these houses are often quite crumbling, and for me, it's always interesting to see, like when we go on a recce, we're always showing like the nicest bits of a property, but I always want to see sort of the backstage areas a little bit because there's more texture and there's more secrets, So I think for me, it was trying to sort of present Norton Hall as this house full of secrets and perhaps decay, to sort of offset. Well, why is Henry so obsessed about sort of leaning back into this world when really, the world is moving on beyond this sort of old-fashioned kind of environment. But I mean, it's great fun just spending all that time at Norton Hall. I mean, interesting. How did you in what ways did you feel it was different then? It's interesting that you recognise that.
Yeah. So, for example, in the season 3 finale, when Rob and Yasmin come into the house,
Yeah,
the Yasmin makes this whole thing of like, is there enough space? Like, there's this kind of it feels like there's space even just between them sitting across each other, right?
yeah,
Now, when we compare that to them having breakfast in episode 2,
yeah,
it's a lot more intimate and a lot more almost over each other. They don't have the same space that Robbie has and Henry had in this is the finale. And here it's so those kind of things. The bedroom, for example, when we see Yasmin in season finale on the bed,
yeah,
she's like a pea in this kind of
yeah,
vast space. But now when we see them in the bedrooms, they're all already so close together, and you can tell that like they're already in each other's space. That was kind of my read of it.
yeah, yeah. I guess the spaces were chosen to kind of emphasise what was happening within the individual scenes. But and it was also trying to sort of show the house as also a home and the history of the house, and
Hmm.
so there was a lot going on. I think with how we used I think the 4 houses actually to create the one environment. But I'm glad that you was it successful in that way.
Oh yes, yes, 100%. Like I mean, at least if I was able to catch that, I think
It's very interesting to hear that was that came across, and I'm pleased to hear that. So yeah,
I'm glad that that was like the intention, and because there are lots of things I have, lots of thoughts I have about this show that I don't think was anyone's intention, but like it's what's in my head, so I stick with it. But no, yeah, it was definitely something, and I think like you said, it helps to the the horror element of the episode,
yeah,
and also the
yeah,
fact that like Yasmin and Robert are POV characters in season 3 finale, and everything seems kind of large and vast to them. But in this
yeah,
episode, Yasmin is a part. Well, she's not really a part of the fabric, but she's trying to be part of the fabric. So it's a
yeah.
lot more knowing to
I
her.
mean, they're sort of they're both of them are sort of struggling with their environments. One because it's sort of new to her, and two because Henry's sort of tripping for most of so 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 he that's not a spoiler, is it? No, it's gone out.
No, no,
Yeah, and he's really struggling with his environment. He's trying to make sense of his history and obviously the loss of his father. That environment was really, really important to kind of do something that successfully helped kind of convey all those themes that were going on. So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it was great fun to do actually. I mean, that episode just blew me away. As soon as I read it,
yeah.
was just like so excited by it. It was just like, yes, here we go. This is everything that the show is able to do now. So
Hmm.
bring it on. Yeah,
Yeah.
and hopefully it went down really well with everybody.
Well, I mean, it looks like from the reaction it did, they went down very well. And
That's
don't
great.
worry, you're free to spoil anything up to episode 5 that you want. Like,
Okay.
anyone listening to this has watched all the episodes up to this point.
Of course,
Um,
of course.
okay, so I think maybe we've kept the audience long enough. We need to ask about Accra. And my first question is, did you shoot any of this on location? How much of this was in Wales?
We did shoot some on location. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Can you say what bits? Is that
Yeah,
too
so
much making it saucy?
basically all the exteriors where
Okay.
you see our version of Accra was shot across sort of 4 or 5 days, and then we had the fantastic opportunity to shoot Wales for Accra, which is always good fun. You always start off thinking, "Oh my god, how am I going to do that?" But then you remember that it's all make believe,
It's
and
filmmaking.
yeah, and that's the pleasure of it for me. Is yeah. So we found an amazing location. It had the right sort of architecture, and a hotel, and we dressed it appropriately, and hopefully it all worked well.
So, okay. So as much as you're comfortable sharing, like I said, most of our listeners are filmmaking nerds. As much as you're comfortable sharing, can you explain the process of making Wales into Accra, like from the moment you read the scripts to the moment we see it on screen? As much as you're okay sharing, not to spoil your process.
Yeah, it's always based in research, really. So, any design that one does is always firmly based in research. So, picture research and obviously, seeing what locations that you find that kind of speak to you and that you
Mhm.
think you can sort of bend round. I've worked in South Africa a little bit, so I mean it's very different to Ghana, obviously, but I have a small kind of perspective on how to make things feel and look different. And I'm shot in Vancouver, make that look like Japan. And it's a common sort of series of um, of challenges that you set as a production designer. So you could be, I mean, you can be fearful about it because it can be, adds a whole other challenge. But once you've done it a few things, I think you make all. I mean, every design you do, you just have to make a series of decisions that are correct,
Mhm.
and those decisions need to stand. And back in the day, maybe a long time ago, I remember walking onto a couple of my sets and going, "Oh, I don't think I had the decisions right here, or they just weren't there." It's
Yeah.
like so now you have to be very sort of intentional about what the decision you're making, and to a greater or lesser degree, those decisions need to be up on screen, not in a way that kind of gets in the way of the storytelling, but I think you have to be able to sort of step back and identify them a little bit like you did with, with Norton Hall. You could see that there was something at play there, which obviously was, we were doing things for specific reasons. And yeah, so it's really just, it's research, choosing the right sort of props. We're very lucky in the UK because we have amazing prop hire companies there's a long history of filmmaking, obviously in London, where the prop hire companies are able to kind of help you create these, magical or fictional worlds. And so you lean into that and the support you can get from there. And obviously you're working with an amazing team as well who will get on board with it. So, and, Mickey and Conrad again, give you some
Yeah.
very firm direction and will always set you straight.
So I was gonna ask about Mickey because I love filmmaking. I'm trying to make films, so like I'm able to kind of turn off my brain. I'm like, hey, it's filmmaking, and I also love industry, so that helps. But at the same time, I'm Nigerian, so if I'm watching this episode, I'm like, how much of this is like accurate? How much of this resembles places in Lagos as opposed to because I haven't lived in Accra? So I'm wondering, uh, Mickey being Ghanaian or his ancestry being Ghanaian, is he pushing back on things? I'm like, okay, this is the authentic enough, or we need to go with this version as opposed to this version, like more so than normal because this is like probably a closer story to his heritage.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to be honest, I think he's just always very, very engaged with everything that we're doing.
Mhm.
So it was never to a greater or lesser extent. It's always 100% with Mickey and Conrad. So they're applying the same sort of level of influence and advice and support, and also they kind of create a very lovely, open, working, creative environment that allows you to do your thing. So there's obviously he's keen to make sure that we nailed it,
Mhm.
but similarly so was I. So and also the show has a certain latitude in terms of, thematically, as long as you're sort of, let's say, ticking the right boxes is completely the wrong phrase, but as long as you're fulfilling the specific requirements of the individual scenes, I think you have a certain degree of latitude in terms of kind of creating the environments that actually seem like you shot it actually in Accra.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that my little show that was like shooting in flats in season 1 and Pierpoint offices is now doing like location shoot.
Season 3 sort of started that process, didn't they? I suppose I think they
Yeah.
shot in Mallorca, was it probably? So they're totally doing all the things that a show like this should do. So and it's amazing that HBO and obviously Bad Wolf are able to sort of gives the right sort of support to allow the show to flex its wings, flex its
Yeah.
muscles. Yeah. So
One of my favorite quotes from Mickey or Conrad, I can't remember who said it. I don't know if it's still true now, but it was true in season 3. They said the budget hasn't changed from HBO. They're just smarter on how to use the money. And I just
yeah.
it's just kind of one of my favorite quotes of like how to make a show, how to make a film. Like you don't necessarily need a blank check. You just need to kind of know. And it's things that you learn, I guess, as
Yeah.
first time showrunners, you learn as you go on.
And we all know those sort of restrictions sometimes are really useful, if you're working with distinct parameters, and it obviously encourages a lot of creativity. But yeah, there wasn't really a moment where I felt sort of like we didn't have what we needed to make the show. Yeah, it's yeah, it was just go go go. Let's do it.
I have 2 final questions, or 1 question, but like on 2 topics, and it's Harper and Sweetpea's accommodations, I guess we could call it, because Sweetpea is a flat, Harper seems to be like a hotel suite. Um, 2 things that I think are on vastly different budgets, but I also just really love both of them. Is there any kind of
Yeah,
thought process behind, like, because I really do love Sweetpea's flat this episode. Like, I love the color combination. I love the kind of the way everything is. So it's very much Sweetpea. It made sense, and it's something like,
yeah,
and then Harper is just like, oh yeah, you're rich now. I get it. Like
yeah,
you're rich now.
yeah, yeah.
Is there any thought process you can kind of share with us about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Harper just definitely needed somewhere, probably in the script, or definitely always felt like she needed a view of the city.
Mm,
The environment of her next conquest is literally right on her doorstep, and that was really important to me, to find a place where you just go, yeah, I want that. And she can stand there looking out across it and baking her next plan. So that was sort of it was actually obviously a location, but it wasn't a hotel. It was a sort of quite upmarket apartment, obviously,
okay.
but had this incredible view of looking out across the river. And actually, you could look both ways across the river, and one way towards the Shard, and from the rear of the property back towards the city. So she was really right in the centre of things. Also on the
Yeah.
river, we've used the river, I think, as imagery for her. That she is on this sort of journey, and the river seems to represent something for that, in my mind anyway, that always
I'd never
felt
put
sort
that
of
together, but
upset.
you're right.
Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
useful that imagery is in many ways, but for me it was always there. So it felt totally right that she was literally living on the river. And also, you just get this amazing view across London, any property that's at Riverside. And then obviously Sweetpeas again was very different. It's obviously it's sort of much smaller and sort of cozier, and and obviously Sweetpea isn't one of my favorite characters in any show ever. I think she's amazing, as they all are. But Sweetpea obviously is constantly full of surprises. So, the world in which you see the way in which Sweetpea exists in the world is you have a sense that there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes. I mean, we know there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, obviously with activities online, but but to the opportunity to see her actually her home, and sort of retreating into this post-traumatic sort of moment, and in her house, and yeah, that was again a lovely opportunity to kind of come up with her environment for that very very swift beat, really. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
lot of thought and care went into that. And actually, I remember when when she walked in, she went, "Oh, okay, yeah, Sweet Pea has got money,"
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, there's always there's multiple ways in which you can sort of go, I think, with sets, and sometimes you just have to obviously make a decision, and for a series of reasons that seem right at the time. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun to do. I mean, the show was just great. I loved it. It's one of my favorite things I've worked on.
Okay. Before I wrap up, is there anything that you maybe I have failed to kind of acknowledge or point out that you want to kind of talk about in your work in this season?
No, I mean, I guess I guess really, I mean, we have sort of been touching upon it. It was just to try and create a really rich world for this incredible story, and the opportunity to design a new office was, the responsibility of that was really felt, right from the beginning. So it was important to get that right, and I think we were all pretty happy with how Tender ended up looking, and Simi, the hotel, and some of the other sets and down the line. So yeah, no, it was yeah. It's
Okay.
a lovely thing to be involved in.
This was a lovely thing to be involved in. Thank you very much for this conversation, Simon.
Well, that's useful. I hope it gives a bit of perspective.
It's very useful. And I think it helps people to kind of know the many decisions that are made, like you said, into making like a show. It's not just the writing and the acting, right? It's all of these little things that are very, very important.
Yeah. But it starts with that writing. I
Yes,
can't say that enough.
Yes, everything starts from the writing.
Yeah.
But this was great. I'm so happy to have this conversation with you. A lot of insights I think will help us cover the back half of the season. But also, like, it helps to know that, like, a lot of the thoughts that we're thinking about these characters are founded in fact, like, founded in the same thoughts that you guys are having and the actors are having and Mickey and Conrad are having. So, thank you very much, Simon.
It was a pleasure.
This was great. And if you ever want to talk about your work on industry, you're more than welcome to come back. If you want to talk about any of your other shows you're working on, you're more than welcome to come back.
Sure.
So we cover all sorts of TV shows on this podcast, not just the industry.
That's
As
great.
difficult as it may be to believe, we do cover other shows.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for your time. This was great.
That's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll speak soon.
Cool.
All right.
Fab. Thank you.
Okay. Eyo, thank you very much. Ebube, thank you very much. Thank you to Simon Rogers. Join us next week when we'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
Well, that was fun. Thank you, gentlemen.